Hello, what's going on? How are you guys doing? Having fun? Thank you. I haven't done anything and you guys are already uploading, huh? Let's hope you do a bit more of that when I'm done. All right, so my name is Sebastian Witalec and I want to talk to you about building a roboarmy with Angular and with NativeScript. In case any of you is on Twitter, I'm Seba Vita, and you can think of me as a jack of all Angular and master of robots. Cool. So let's get to the point. So I live in London, and there's loads of parks in there, and squirrels are everywhere. And you know, like squirrels are like really cute. You know, these little furry animals. You know, they come to you, you give them a nod, and go like, you know, they get very excited, and you start taking pictures and stuff. You know, like which is kind of true, except in the park next to where I live. They kind of like got a bit crazy. It was like, you're cute, but are you really? You know, like this particular squirrel is called Jack, started throwing peanuts at people with allergies, you know? It's like, what's wrong with you? And then they started getting armed, you know, started the whole revolution. And we're like, what the hell is going on? Right? So like, we have to, you know, get somebody, you know? So the stormtroopers came over, tried to, you know, rescue us. And like, everything seemed to be under control. But, you know, like, the squirrel's like, what is going on? Like, these guys have big guns and everything. We're armed as well. So, like, they decided to fight back. You know, captured all the stormtroopers. That's it. You know, like, they keep raining havoc in the park. So we're like, okay, it's like, stormtroopers didn't manage, but surely there's somebody else that could help us. So we sent a call for help, and the robots answered. And they're like, hey, we don't really have lives, we just have batteries. We could come over and help you. So like, just tell us what to do and we'll do it for you. I was like, yeah, perfect. So the problem is that the robots speak a different language to what we do. Like, I couldn't just say like, oh, go and get Jack, you know, the peanut nutter, you know? So the thing is like, even when they came and say hi and ask you, it was like, it wasn't quite clear, okay? So I was like, okay, so we have to figure out how to talk to these guys. And it turns out that one of the protocols they were using is Bluetooth, right? So we could use BLE, the Bluetooth Low Energy, to communicate with them. So how do we do that? So what happens is like the Bluetooth communication is kind of divided into a bunch of services, right? So you could have a service for a dashboard, or for weapons, or a service for drive control, right? Imagine you have like a tank, right? And then each of those services then is divided into a bunch of characteristics. So for dashboard, we have like a speed indicator, fuel indicator. For weapons, we have like cute ray and laser. And for drive control, we have like a steering wheel, accelerator, and a brake, right? So you could actually use this characteristic to communicate with all the services. And then one of the other things worth noticing, there's like this IDs. So usually, which is called the UUID. So this is how you identify a specific service or a characteristic. So then services as well divided into like a read-only services or write services, or you could have services that can push notifications whenever something happens. Okay? So let's imagine we wanted to use the queued ray and we want to reload. So what we have to use is the weapon service with a queued ray characteristic, and then we'll have to pass in like three values like instruction for reload, how much of the charge, and what type of charge we want to do, right? And this will pretty much adapt to command like this, where we provide service, characteristic, and instruction. Okay, so that's like the overall theory, how the whole thing works. So today we'll talk about how to use Bluetooth in the web world and the mobile world. Okay, so, and I'm going to start with web first. So we can use web Bluetooth inside Chrome. And it's actually very easy to use it. It's just like few steps. So first thing we need to do is basically you have 5 steps. So we have to add web Bluetooth to our project. So just run npm install, and we have to add the types for web Bluetooth. The next thing that we have to do is just, we call this request device, which basically launches this little pop-up in Chrome, and it gives you a list of available devices in the area, and you can select one, and when you selected one, you get a callback, okay? So what we have to pass into the request device is like a name prefix for filters, and the list of services that you are planning to use, right? So if you wanted to use the drive service and maybe the weapon service, you have to press the list of UUIDs inside there, okay? So once we requested the device and the user selected one, we get a callback, and then what you have to do is like the callback gives us a device so we can connect to it. If you connect, you get a server. And then using the server, you can then request a specific service, and then that will give you a callback with a service or promise of a service, and then using that specific service, then we can request a characteristic, okay? So this is usually like the setup phase. Like as soon as you connect it, you're gonna get all your services that you wanna use and all the characteristics, and so that you can send some commands. So to read data from a characteristic, you just basically say characteristic.readValue, and this will return a promise, and then you can then cast this promise from uint 8, and you will get a value, okay? If you want to send an instruction into the robot, then basically you can construct like int8 array, passing the values, and then basically you just say characteristic.write value, and you pass in the value inside. Right, so the first volunteers arrived, and these were Mumbo drones. So this is, one of these guys. And basically they had like quite a complicated API at first to communicate with it. So like you have to set up like the maximum speed, maximum rotation, how far can it go, which if you want to just get on with it, it might be a little bit tricky. So what I did is like if you want to build like an Angular application, you could get this service called Mumbo Angular Service from NPM. And you could actually write code against this guy like in 2 minutes, okay? So I wrapped it up for you. So why don't I just show you a quick demo of how these guys work, and as well, I show you the code. So, let's the fun begin. So showing you very quickly how to use the service. I hope you guys can see it. So at the beginning, when I'm trying to request a device, I'm just calling navigator Bluetooth request device, passing the Mumbo as a filter and the Mumbo's UUID for the services that I want. And when I'm done, I'm just creating this drone object, which you can use later on to communicate. And then like inside my UI, basically I have functions like takeoff and land, or you can kind of have like set roll or set pitch, so that's like for making move sideways or turning around, okay? And the way this pretty much works inside, if we look at, for example, the drone object itself, you see like on connect, I'm going through the phase where I'm setting up like all the characteristics, you see, so prepare characteristics, I'm just basically creating all of them. We're not gonna get in details specifically, but let's look at takeoff function. So the takeoff function takes value 0, 1, 0. To land, I'm sending an instruction 030 to the flight command characteristic. The other thing that I'm doing inside there is basically I'm creating like a buffer and I'm passing the instructions there. Yeah. One thing that this code is hiding is that for every instruction that I'm sending, so like for takeoff was 010, the drone has this thing that every 100 milliseconds it has to receive some instruction, whether it is a bunch of zeros or whether it's supposed to do something. He has to keep continuously receive instructions, otherwise he thinks he's disconnected and he will just land, okay? So basically what we do is we always send instruction number 2, then steps, so this is instruction number 1, number 2, number 3, etc., then 2 again, and then is the 010. This will become relevant a little bit later. Anyway, so I've been speaking already too much about the code. You guys just want to see it in action. So let's see, the application is just building. Hope he's still on. All right, let's reload quickly. So I'm going to run a search. I found my drone. I call pair. So the moment I call pair, that's when the first function actually returns the callback. So I'm pairing, and then now the whole thing is setting up all the services, characteristics, and when it's ready, I'm getting an alert. And as well, like I have here like a list of instructions that I can use. So if I press takeoff, it's going up. So this guy is controlled by Angular. And the bonus of him is like whoever, you see if I fly over you, it's pretty cool because like he's basically my portable air conditioning. And as well, I use him for cleaning up and stuff, so come to me, come to me. Hey, how's it going? Who's your papa? You like me? Cool me down. Oh no, he doesn't like me, come to me. Bastard. All right, and now I'm gonna land nicely. Should I land or anyone wants to take a picture? Come on, there's one. Hello. I'm gonna show you my side, my other side. I'm gonna go strafing. I'm gonna land, nope. Keep going. Oh, there's somebody. Hello, buddy. How's it going? Have you seen my mama? I'm lost. All right, I'm faster than you. And that's it. I assume you enjoyed it. That's okay. That's good. That's good. All right. So that's the first part. But it gets better from here. So that's how we used Chrome. Yep. That's how we use Chrome. So basically, I could launch the same application on Android, on iOS. I could run it from Windows. Like it worked everywhere from Chrome, which is pretty cool. But what if you wanted to connect from a mobile application? Okay? What if you wanted to go beyond Chrome? And that's where we can use NativeScript. So for anyone that doesn't know what NativeScript is, it's basically an open source framework that allows you to use either JavaScript or Angular to build mobile application with native UIs. Okay? And this slide is actually saying that. So the way we use Bluetooth in this case is very similar. There's like the initial steps are slightly different. So again, what we have to do, there's a native plugin for NativeScript. So first thing that we have to do is just install the NativeScript Bluetooth plugin. Then we just require it. And the very first thing we have to do is just request permissions. So the app, you know when you open an application for the first time, it says, oh, I want to have access to your contacts or Bluetooth or something. So first we have to request permissions to use Bluetooth on our device. And then if you want to connect to the device, we have to run start scanning function. And this function takes undiscovered callback. So whenever we discover a device, if there's like 5 Bluetooth devices in the area, this will get called 5 times, and it will give us like the UUIDs of the devices, and then the name of it. So you usually use the name to display to the user, while the UUID for actual connection. Okay? So we scan for the devices are in the area, display to the user, then the user selected one, and that's when we can call Bluetooth Connect. And then we pass in the UUID of the device that the user selected, and we have on-connected callback. So as soon as the device got connected, this gets called. So then you would know whether to navigate to another page or what to do. Okay? And then we have on disconnected. So if a device gets disconnected, then you can as well handle it and do something in the UI about it. Right? So once we connect it, then we can read the data. To read the data, you just call Bluetooth.read, and we pass in the UUID of the device, the service, and the characteristic. So every time you want to read, you have to pass in all 3 of them. And then basically you get a promise, and you can basically again convert the result to uint8 array. And that will give you a set of numbers that came from the device. If you want to send an instruction into the robot, into the drone, you can basically construct like the Bluetooth options object. So again, the peripheral or device UUID, service UUID, and characteristic UUID, but also we can pass in a value. And we can pass this value as a string that has numbers in a hexadecimal format, or it could be actually uint8 array as well. And then we basically can call Bluetooth write without response. So you can either use it without response or with response. But if you expect to constantly send like messages every 50 milliseconds, then basically you don't want to wait for response. You just want to keep firing it, right? So this is my favorite function. So again, we had another of the superheroes joining us. So this guy is called mepush. He even has his Twitter account. Can you believe it? What nutter would do that, right? He's a very nice guy. So what I did again, I created an NPM package. So if you're using NativeScript, you can use NativeScript meet.ble. So you can just install the plugin, and immediately you can actually, he's got a built-in scanner and a functionality to control him, okay? So I'm going to do a quick demo, and I'll show you, rather than how to use my NPM package, I'll show you step by step through code how we can connect to him and how we can send some instructions to him, okay? So let's do this. So this is my phone. I will appreciate all my friends not to text me right now. I'm looking at you, Asim, wherever you are. So to scan, basically I can just call Bluetooth.start scanning. And this is the great thing about TypeScript. I can see what's here. So seconds, okay, scan for 3 seconds. What else do we have? Undiscovered. So undiscovered will be a function that will give us, let's call it a device. And what I'm going to do is I'll say if device name. So I want to avoid all the devices that don't have a name, because mepush has a name, right? And then I have a function already built in called add device. So like you see, I have this array here of devices. So I'm just going to add a device here. So, and this specific function takes a name and UUID. So I can get it from device.name and device.UUID, right? So I'm just going to build this application very quickly, and I'll show you what we've done so far. That shouldn't take too long. And I'm going to run it on this phone here, so you just see the screen that I have here. Yeah, I know, patience, seriously. Robots these days, they have no respect. So I can run scan, and you see like there's a loads of things around, but mepush is one of them, so now I can go and connect to him. So let's add a function that allows me to connect. So, yeah, I know it's boring, shut up. All right, connect. I need to write faster because he gets annoying. So connect takes two functions like onConnected. So this will be one. So when it's connected, what I'm going to do is I have this navigate to another view. Shut up. Sorry, he's just like not very well behaved, you know. So I'm just going to pass in the UUID to the other view. And what else do we need? Oh, we actually need to pass in the UUID of the device. So I'm going to pass in the UUID that comes here. And I'm going to do onDisconnected. And I'm just not going to do anything about it for now. All right, let's reload this. So that's step number 2. Actually, I should probably do some functionality. So scan, mepush. The cool thing is when I'm connected to him, he's actually quiet. He doesn't do anything, right? Okay, so now we're connected. We have another view. And in this view, we have functions like move forward, move back, turn left, turn right. So let's send him some instructions. So it's pretty cool because the guys that created mepush from Wowie Labs, they created a whole protocol, and they give you all the list of functions that you can call. So in order to send him an instructions, I have to send first the code 0x71. Then I have to pass in the speed value between 0 and 30, and then for how long he's supposed to drive between 0 and 255, okay? So let me open, I have this move forward function. So, oops, not the one I wanted. So write without response. So first the peripheral UUID. So that is my device UUID that I passed into this view. We also have a service UID. So basically, the service UID is FFE5 that we use for instructions, and characteristic UID is FFE9. So I'm just going to pass it here. I just don't want to type it every time. So characteristic UID. And now the instruction. So you see I'm creating an int8 array. So first we're going to pass in 0x71. Then there was a value between 0 and 30 for speed, so maximum speed. And how long for? Let's say 100 or 70, because that was like times 7 milliseconds. So we can do this. And maybe to drive forward is 0x72. So let me very quickly copy the same. And we're going to do move back also. So that's 0x72. Save that. We should be able to refresh the application. Just a moment. Scan. He gets excited whenever he gets disconnected. He's a bit bipolar, you know. So I can now go forward. And I can go back. And you see me in what, like 5 minutes coding to talk to this robot, right? How cool is that? So obviously I can implement turn left, turn right. You could kind of guess what's coming, but I'm not going to do that. The best function he has for control actually is this one, continuous drive. So continuous drive expects me to send an instruction every 50 milliseconds. So I have to continuously keep sending instructions where I'm telling him how much he's supposed to move forward or backwards, and then whether he has to turn left and right at the same time, right? So I already have the code, so I'll just show you very quickly. So I'm using accelerometer on my phone, which basically reads the X and Y position of my phone, and at the same time I'm translating this and I'm sending it to the robot. So every time in a loop, I'm just calling this continuous drive function. So let's go to that function. So this one basically I'm converting the speed and the turn to the values between 0x20 to between 0 and 0x20, etc. So you don't need to actually see it anymore. So I'm now gonna control him with my hand. Like, go forward, go! I don't know why he's moving so fast. Maybe he's low on juice. Come to Papa, come here. Come to me. No. I'm here, come here. Good, me push. So he can also talk and do stuff, but I want to show you how he can dance, because that's pretty cool. Come here. Oh yeah. You ready? You better be. He's good, isn't he, huh? Keep going. He's almost as good as Sunny. Sunny's a better dancer. Sorry, me push. All right, enough. He's such a show-off. Yeah. Woo! All right, so it's not the end of demos. I'm going to do one more thing with the drone. So let me go back to the presentation. And we're going to do a bit more. So that's me, Bush. So if you want to follow him on Twitter, he's NativeScript MIP, M-I-P. Some of the pictures might not be decent, so be prepared. Anyway, reverse engineering. So the problem is sometimes you want to write your own application, but the documentation, let's say the API is not documented, and it's a problem. And I actually had a problem with this guy, where he has this little cannon, and don't be deceived, this is lethal, this is deadly, you know? So he's got this little cannon, but I couldn't find for my life how to actually fire it, right? It's messed up, you know, you have a cannon, you can't use it. This is not fair. So But he has his own application, right? So I've got an Android device. So if you're Android, you can enable, if you use like the developer option, you can enable Bluetooth HCI Snoop Lock, right? And then you use the application, and the Snoop Lock will basically log all the Bluetooth instructions that go through the device, right? So you see me, right? So what I did, and then you can basically find the BT Snoop HCI log with all the instructions that were fired, right? So I was like, okay, I can figure out. I could use that and then use this tool called Wireshark to inspect all the instructions that were sent while I was using the original application that I was trying to hack into, right? So, okay, Wireshark is pretty cool. Then it pretty much like for every instruction tells you what was the value, what was the characteristic, etc. that was used. So basically I figured that if I start the robot and call fire twice, then I make him take off and land because I know the instructions for take off and land, then fire 3 times, then take off and land again, I will be able to find it, right? If I can find the number 2 and 3 and 7 and 8, I can find the ones in between and the in before, right? Makes sense. So you remember at the beginning when I said that whenever I was sending instructions, we always had this value like 2, the step that goes like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc., and then 2, and then there's 0, 1, 0, and then 0, 3, 0, right? So we'll be looking for this pattern in a moment. So we have the prefix and we have the actual command. So let's talk to the Wireshark and let me show you. So I pre-recorded a session already, and I will show you how the whole thing looks in action. Let me make it bigger a little bit. So I already opened the file, and so this is service UID, this is my characteristic UID, and I sorted all the instructions by characteristic UID, and now basically all of those that we're looking for, starting here from this is the characteristic I know is used for sending instructions. So I can kind of scroll down, and here I have suspiciously looking one which is 040F02 and then 000100, which is followed by 000300, then some 3 instructions, and again I have 0103. So here sits the instruction I'm interested in. So, and you can see it's identical except for the step 11, 12, 13. And then as well I have 2 of those over here. So that's how I can find my fire functionality. Okay? Oops. So I can go out of here. So basically, that's what I was explaining over in here. So these are the steps I was kind of figuring out. So this was the specific instruction that I found over there, which I could then translate to 10, 0, 2, and loads of zeros. And that became my fire instruction in my API. Okay? So again, going back to the demo we were looking at before. Did I kill it? I need to run it again. I need a volunteer who's prepared to take a bullet. Anyone? Volunteers? Come over, come here. Yeah, I'm gonna shoot you. Let's see how tough you are. A big round of applause. What's your name? What's the? Noam. Big applause for Noam. Perfect. So, let's connect to the drone. I swear I tested it. Not. No, man. You brave?
Where are you shooting at?
I'm already firing. Oh, I did that. All right, that's it. You're supposed to fall on the ground, man. Fire, again. Down, yes. Well done. Perfect acting skills, man. Arnold Schwarzenegger should be worried. So, having figured out how this works, and me killing Noam twice, we could come back to our original battle. So, with the help of Meepush and our drone, You're probably thinking, what happened in the park? Well, there was unconditional surrender. All the squirrels were like, okay, we just eat nuts, we won't throw it at allergic people, we just chill. We're just gonna chill and be cute, you know? I still don't trust them, but so far they've been behaving pretty well. The summary. If using Bluetooth is fun and it's fairly easy, which I hope you could see so far, if you want to get yourself started, you could look up for any of those NPM modules. So there's Mumbo Angular Service, NativeScript Mumbo BLE, and NativeScript MIP BLE. So the first one works with all the Angular. These ones are for NativeScript specifically. Summary-wise, you can use NativeScript with Android, iOS, and connect up to 10 devices. Web Bluetooth is pretty good, but it only works from Chrome. You can use it on Mac, Windows, Android, and you can connect to only one device, except for on the Mac. Mac Web Bluetooth can actually connect to multiple devices. That's what it was telling me. If you want to, instead of using promises, you want to use observables, you could use actually the one from Managineko. That's the Angular Web Bluetooth, which is really good. If you want to do some reverse engineering, you could do HCI Snooplog and use Wireshark. Or you could try to figure out like some pattern matching tools. So like I was doing with looking for takeover land. I'm actually working on like a replay tool that will allow you to record something and then rerun a log automatically. But that's just, long into the future, maybe next year. So I have Q&A, but we don't have time. So thank you very much.